Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to this quick little semi-update tribute-esque video I wanted to kind of do, and name of the video and thumbnail will probably change so you know exactly what it's about, but I wanted to do this since since it happened last week, and I kind of want to give my thoughts on the matter. Quick little thank you and tribute video to the life of Stan Lee, who sadly passed away, I think last Monday at the age of 95. And just kind of thank him for his time, all the characters created, all the stories he's created. And before someone probably mentions it in the comments, and it didn't occur to me until I started recording this video, yes, I'm wearing a DC shirt, Flash, and it wasn't intended at all. I just picked it out of my closet and just threw a shirt on earlier today. So yeah, it's not supposed to be connected or anti or whatever. It's just I'm wearing a Flash shirt, comics and everything. So it just happened to be like that and it just occurred to me before I recorded this. But yes, I kind of just want to give my thoughts just quickly on the matter and just basically say thank you, Stan Lee, for all that you create, all the characters, all the stories, everything you've made in your long time working with Marvel, all the cameos you do in the movies within recent, like MCU, and all the Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and all those movies, all your cameos, all your appearances, and like all the comics you've made, all the stories you've created, all the things you've done through your comic books and your anything you've done in your career. I just want to say thank you, from not just me, but from all the fans, basically. Like, you really did create a lot of interesting characters, a lot of interesting stories. You touched people so much with your stories and characters. And quite frankly, me growing up, like, I grew up with a lot of his characters, a lot of his stories. And like, when I was growing up, I liked a lot of different superheroes. Obviously, a young boy growing up in the 90s, I was gonna read comic books, watch cartoons, and play video games, and all the other stuff that superheroes, and all the multimedia, T-shirts, toys, comic books, video games, movies, and whatnot. Like, three of my favorite superheroes growing up, two of them were created by Stan Lee. Like, my one that wasn't is obviously Batman, who was like my favorite superhero growing up, of like all time, watching the Batman animated series, watching the Tim Burton movies, playing with. I had a freaking crap ton of Batman toys, not just from the animated series and like original toys, but like when they did the live action movies and everything. Batman was one of my hugest, favorite superheroes growing up. But the other two were Spider-Man and the X-Men. I grew up loving those characters, loving those stories, and they impacted my life so much. I just, if you've seen my videos, sometimes I draw those characters. I've drawn pictures of Gambit and Wolverine. I've drawn multiple pictures of Spider-Man. I've seen all like the Spider-Man. I love the Spider-Man movies and the animated series from the 90s, and all the different adaptations of it. It's a really fun. It's a really interesting character that I've grown up watching and reading about. Same thing with the X-Men. So many different characters. The diversity of his cast of characters. And I don't mean just like diversity as in female characters or characters of minorities and whatnot. Just diversity in terms of their personalities and their costumes and their appearances and the stories they're in, the worlds they're in, and how they interconnect with each other. He created a lot of modern day mythology type stuff, like how like the Greeks made like the Hercules and all this stuff in the past. Like, he's made a lot of modern day mythology as characters, just the same as like DC made like Batman, Superman, and whatnot. Comic books were a major during the 20th century. Major, bringing forth of all these characters, all these different concepts. It was, and it's the same as nowadays with video games, how there was music and movies and TV shows and books. A lot of different mediums made through that decade introduced our modern day society to a lot of unique, interesting stories and characters and whatnot. And Stan Lee was the one, was one of them. And he lived a really good long life. He got to see his creations made into live action films and whatnot. And I think that's really kind of cool. And just everything about like his life has been he's contributed so much to a lot of people, not just in terms of just them loving comic books or loving video games or loving movies or the characters and stories themselves, but it's impacted them. It's been like life lessons. A lot of these characters are like life lessons. He even said like he's made characters to be like real life people, which at the time didn't really happen, especially in comic books. They always tried to make them like the superhuman Superman type stuff, or these other things. And now DC's integrating that stuff, but for a while DC wasn't really integrating that too much into their stories. until I think Stan Lee and Marvel started really pushing that kind of thing. Now comic books in general and a lot of different mediums like video games and whatnot do that a whole heck of a lot nowadays. But like Stan Lee contributed a whole lot of that, and he created some really interesting characters. You know, Captain America and Thor and the Hulk, the X-Men, Spider-Man, the Avengers, all these different characters throughout these years, and it's sad to see him go, but he lived his life to the fullest. He gave people so many good memories, and it's generational. It's like my mom grew up with this stuff. My cousins grew up with this stuff. My older cousins, I mean, in fact, talking about my younger cousins are growing up with this stuff, and it's cool to see one of my younger cousins grow up loving Spider-Man as much as I did back in the day. Because it's a generational thing, and the next kids and the kids after that, and then people before us, like my uncle and all that stuff. Like a lot of my family members, grew up. A lot of my friends and their family grew up with these characters, and it's really is a generational thing. It's going to be around forever. His creations are going to be around forever, and that's really it. And I'm going to just say thank you, Stan Lee, for all these great memories I've had talking with people, family members, and friends about these characters and creations, drawing them, just being fans of them, embracing the different mediums they're in. And thank you for everything you've done throughout your lifetime, all the different creations and appearances and interviews and whatever the heck else you've done. Thank you from fans to the creator, from fans to you. Thank you, Stan Lee, for everything. This is Sniping is Fun. Peace, and I'll see you all later in the next video. Bye.